to my channel and welcome to 2023. We are going to be talking about every single book that I read in 2022, with the exception of thrillers. I made a whole video talking about all the thrillers I read in 2022. So if you want to hear about those thrillers / mysteries, go check out that video. Otherwise, we're going to be going through every single book by genre. So if you really want to read like a romance this year, or you really want to read a nonfiction, you want to like skip to that portion just so you can get some inspiration for what to read in 2023, you can see the timestamps in the description and you can jump to that. That's the way I like to see these videos, so I hope you appreciate that I kind of split it up that way versus like chronological order of what I read this year. I just find it's really helpful for, you know, giving you inspiration on what to read, and I feel like that's why I like to watch BookTube. So hope you like that, and if you aren't already, please hit that subscribe button, that like button, and let's get to this. Okay, so first and foremost, let's talk about my stats for the year. My year in 2022, I read 59 books in total, just shy of 60. Kind of feels annoying that I'm in that weird number of 59, but that's the truth. I read 59 books in 2022, and it totaled 21K basically of pages read. So quite a few pages, I would say. I don't even know if this plan's kind of annoying me. My shortest book was Playing the Long Game, which was 224 pages. My longest book was A Court of Wings in Ruin, which was 705 pages. And on average, my book length was 361 pages, which seems about right. I don't know why I really gravitate to like the 400 page mark, and I kind of hate it. I kind of wish that I had some that were a little shorter sometimes, but I'm usually around that 360, 400 pages kind of mark. The book that I read that was the most shelved, I guess, so most read by other people on Goodreads, was Jane Eyre, which doesn't surprise me. And I'm going to be doing a video soon about all the classics that I'm reading right now. So if you want to know more about Jane Eyre, stay tuned. And my least shelved was the Playing the Long Game. I honestly think this is probably because it's like a newer book. It's very recent, but I don't recommend it. I kind of hated it. So, and my average rating for 2022 was 3.7. I think I'm pretty generous. Like if I like a book and I think other people will like it, I'm automatically like 4 stars. If I'm like, I wouldn't really recommend this book, but it like wasn't bad, then I'll do 3. And if I absolutely hated it and I could hardly make it through, like I almost DNF'd it, 2 1 stars. 2 or 1 stars, you know? And if I loved it, like this book I could reread, I'm going to recommend to everyone, and I might speak about it on my channel a million times, is 5 stars. So that's kind of how I do my ratings, so I understand why it's 3.7. I think I'm pretty generous. I'm going to start with my romances. And as I go through these genres, I'm going to also give the stars ratings for each of them. If you want to know my top books, like the books of 2022, I have a best books of 2022 video. Watch that. That will cut to the chase and give you my 5-star reads that I loved and would read again and would recommend to you. So jump to that video if you'd like. But let's go through every genre and really get to it here. And I'm going to have quite a fun time editing this when I have to pop in the image of each book because I was too lazy to grab it off my bookshelf because it would just be too much work to put it back on. Anyway. Alright, romances. In 5 years. I loved this book, gave it 5 stars, highly recommend it. It was the first book I actually read in 2022 and I loved it. Beach Reads, 3 stars. Kind of an unpopular opinion, but I liked it, but like it doesn't stick with me. It's like meh. Forever Interrupted, 2 stars. Hated. I honestly don't like her backlogs, like her older books, I think are so much weaker than her more recent books. So I'm not really interested in reading any more of her older style books. Reminders of Him. Now this could be romance or contemporary. I wasn't quite sure, so it's in romance. If some of these are weird genres, it is what it is. So Reminders of Him, I gave 4 stars. November 9th I gave 5 stars. I love me like quick romance, and I love that this book like cuts to chase every November 9th when they're meeting each other every single time. So cute. It's a quick, fast paced read. After, 3 stars. Honestly, I like the movie better. And when I found out that this was like a Harry Styles fanfic, I was like, whoa, what? Archer's Voice. I gave this a 3 stars. I know that for some people this is like their all-time fave, and for others it's their least favorite. I thought it was okay. I enjoyed the kind of small town portion to it and like the mystery of Archer a bit, like the whole mystique of him at the beginning. But I'm not sure I loved his, like him being the weaker character. You know what I'm saying? Like her feeling like she needs to fix him. I kind of despised that. It made me uncomfortable. So 3 stars. Before We Were Strangers. I loved this book. It's 5 star for me, and if you're gonna take any romances, I would take that one. Layla is a 2 stars. Like, what the heck is going on? I did not sign up for a paranormal romance. I did not know that there was such thing as a ghost romance. That is a no from me. After I Do, 3 stars. Again, like, backlog is meh. Book Lovers, 4 stars. It, again, is really cute. I love Emily Henry, and I think she works for a lot of people. Like, I would always recommend her if you want to get into romance and you're not quite sure where to dive into at first. But I just, like, it never really gets my heartstrings that much. Like, I understand the love to it and the cuteness, and I like that all of her characters typically love books. But I don't know, it just doesn't do it for me. It doesn't hit that extra mark. Regretting You, 3 stars. It's too much mother-daughter side story-ness to it that I like didn't care for. Every Summer After, 5 stars. I really like this book. It gave me that cottage feel. Really good book if you want a summer style story. So, cottage, Canadian summer, loved it. Love in Other Words, which is very similar to Every Summer After. Honestly, I can understand why some people who love Love in Other Words were offended that Every Summer After is basically a copy. I understand. I get it. Now that I've read that afterwards, I get it. And I gave it a 4 stars. If I had to be honest, I did like Every Summer After more than Love in Other Words, but potentially she could have been cheating with having that other book first. I don't know. Who cares? You know, there's books that are like other books. I don't think that's like an author's fault. It's nothing's original in this world. You know what I'm saying? Summerland, a 3 stars. I think I could read more by this author, but dang, was it painfully slow, some of her descriptions. Like at one part in this book, they were searching their daughter's room and it just took them 7 pages to describe every portion of the room to not find what they were looking for, even though it was like in plain sight. Wish You Were Here. I gave that 4 stars. It was okay. Where on This Life, 5 stars. Nowhere But Here, 3 stars. Can you see a trend? I loved Renee Carlino, and she really slapped, and I read a bunch of her books like back to back because she was hitting me hard. The Soulmate Equation, 3 stars. Cheesy. Kind of I like the, you know, sci-fi-ness to it, but cheesy. Confess, 4 stars. Colleen Hoover always knows how to hit you with some real good twists, and it keeps you going. Good page turner. I enjoyed. It Starts With Us, an absolute 2 or even 1 star. I hated it. It's like the ending of a romance where you're just like, all right, they're happily ever after. Skip, skip, skip. I just could have done without that book, really, honestly. We're gonna jump now to my fantasy reads, so let's get into them. I didn't read a lot of fantasy this year, and honestly, I want to read more fantasy in 2023. I find them sometimes intimidating. I know that every time I get into the second book, I'm like so enthralled and I love them, and you can get so captured in the characters. But I think sometimes the first book can be really overwhelming and you're learning a lot about the world building and the character development and building, and it sometimes takes too much of my brain power to really be invested into. So it overwhelms me, but I know every time I read them, I love them. So 2023, I think I'm gonna jump into a couple more. Potentially some more Sarah J. Maas. You know, maybe some Throne of Glass. but we'll see. So A Court of Thorn and Roses, I gave 5 stars. A Court of Mist and Fury, I gave 5 stars. A Court of Wing and Ruins, I gave 4 stars. The Cruel Prince, 3 stars. Honestly, wasn't a very good book. I understand why people didn't continue the series, but The Wicked King, the second one, is a 5 stars. So good. So please, if you've read the first one in the series, just read the next one. You'll understand why people love it. Like, I understand why you don't like it right now, but read the next one, you'll understand. The Queen of Nothing, 5 stars. All right, that's all the fantasies I read. Let's jump now to nonfiction. I'm actually surprised how many nonfiction books I read, and a lot of them were good hits. So that was shocking to me. I love a good memoir, I love a good biography, and tell me your life story in a really cool way, and I'm a sucker for it. So if you have any recos, I want to read more nonfictions this year. I'm hoping to read like 1 a month. I feel like I learn a lot from them, so give me your recos. You're Not Listening, I gave 4 stars. Honestly, this taught me a new way of communicating, which has been really helpful in my life and relationships, but also in work. So I highly recommend if you feel like you can't remember things people are saying, or you're not connecting with people, or you're having a hard time really understanding what they're trying to tell you, read this book. It'll really help with basically learning how to listen. Whistleblower, My Journey to Silicon Valley and Fight for Justice. I gave this 4 stars. I really enjoyed this. It was really interesting to hear basically a female's perspective on Silicon Valley and hearing the deep insides of her working relationships with a lot of people. It was just so interesting and I really enjoyed it. Green Light, 2 stars. I hated it so much. I don't want to hear about this guy's dreams anymore. And if you know, you know. I'm over that so much. Do not like that book. My Body, 4 stars. I was shocked that I liked this so much. I thought it was just going to be kind of a cheeky story and recalling of her time with that music video and everything that transpired from that, but I found myself really relating to what she was talking about with her body and her relationship with her body and how she felt really disconnected with it. And I thought that this book did a really great job at communicating that in a very empathetic way and just relatable way, so I highly recommend. It was really good. Between Two Kingdoms, I gave 3 stars. I think for some people this book could be really impactful if you're dealing with an illness, or someone in your family is also dealing with an illness. The Book of Joy, 5 stars. Absolutely killed me. I loved it so much, and I look at life in a completely different way because of this book. So highly recommend. Definitely listen to the audiobook though. The audiobook slaps. The Book of Hope, because I read The Book of Joy, I needed to listen to more of this author. It's a very fun journalist-esque style. So The Book of Hope was also amazing. Also listened to the audiobook. I love Jane, so I wanted to hear more from her. And to hear her actual voice the entire time was awesome. Glad My Mom Died. I gave this a 5 stars. I think it was written really well, and definitely read the warnings before you read this book, but I enjoyed it and I thought she did a really good job at expressing her story and making it a little bit lighter. It could have been so heavy, and I just think she did a great job. If I Knew Then, I gave this a 2 stars. Plain the Long Game, I gave this a 2 stars. If you want to listen to someone tell you a million times, let's go, before every game that she plays, then listen to Playing the Long Game. But I didn't like it because we're literally just listening to play-by-plays of every single game, or at least highlights of every game, and her saying, let's go, to the team beforehand, and then afterwards being like, so this person played really well and I'm like really inspired by this player, but like she had never talked about her life, her journey, and how she kind of got into soccer and her more personal side, which I like from biographies. And I understand not everyone wants to share their personal lives, but then don't write a biography or memoir. You know what I'm saying? Okay, that's every nonfiction I read. So let's jump to fiction/contemporary, is what I kind of like to call it. Basically my books that don't have any storyline but have a lot of meaning. So Bunny, 2 stars for me. I honestly think I'm missing the point. What is going on in that book? I don't understand. My Dark Vanessa, 5 stars. Loved, loved, loved. I hated it while I was reading it. I felt really uncomfortable while I was reading it, but I cannot stop thinking about it 5 stars. Carrie Soto is back. I also gave this a 5 stars. It's a lot easier of a book to read, and I just enjoyed it. And as a fellow or past athletic athlete, I think I could relate to a lot of the feelings Carrie felt. Beautiful World, Where Are You? I gave this a 4 stars. I enjoyed it a lot. It was actually redeeming for me for Sally Rooney because I hated normal people, but so it was redeeming, and I enjoyed some of the messages in there. But I have now listened to a lot of people talk about how she's pretty preachy, and I get it. I do understand. But I still gave this a 4 stars. Breasts and Eggs, I give this a 4 stars. I really love this. If you are feeling the feelings of being a female and all of the pressures and society feelings surrounding it, this book will really make you relate. And I just she stemmed feelings in me that I didn't even know were there or could really communicate, and I just felt really connected to the characters. So Breasts and Eggs was really powerful. Mad Honey, I don't really know what category this would go to, so I put it here. I gave this a 4 stars. I enjoyed it. It had a really major twist in the middle, and the story was interesting to me. I really liked the court cases, so 4 stars for me. Snowbound at Christmas, I gave this a 2 stars. It put me in the Christmas mood, but that's about it. And last but not least, the last genre that I'll share in this video, if you want to again listen to all the thrillers and mysteries I read, which was a lot of books, please watch my past video. So the last genre I'm going to go over is classics, and the only classic I read this 2022 was Jane Eyre, and I gave this a 3 stars. I'm really excited to read some more classics. Dang, are they intimidating, because they take quite a long time to read and digest, as they're basically a different language at this point in our communication skills of 2023. But I think it really helped with my vocabulary, and I like understanding why we think it's a classic, and also the romance component of it is completely different of a romance we would have written nowadays. So I found it very fascinating. Those are all of the books that I've read in 2022, minus the thrillers. There's another video, but I had a really good time reading this year, and I cannot wait for 2023 reads. I've already started a couple books and I'm really enjoying them, so I hope that my goals, at least for 2023, is to read over 60 books this year. That's goal number 1. And read 25K pages. You know, I just want to continuously read, continue my habit of reading, which is like reading every morning or reading every day, and just enjoy it. Like, don't pressure myself to read books because other people are reading them, and don't pressure myself to like read faster because other people are reading like 10 books a day. Like, just enjoy the process, and I really highly encourage all of you as well to think about that too, because I think it's really overwhelming with BookTube. Everyone's like, I read 10 books, I read 12 books, like they're announcing the number of books they've read every single monthly wrap up, and it can make you feel kind of shitty if you are really someone who's goal oriented. Don't get wrapped up in the numbers. Don't get wrapped up in the page numbers. Don't get wrapped up in the monthly wrap-up numbers. Just find the books that you want to read, even if they're not popular, and just enjoy yourself. Seriously, that's the whole point of reading, is to enjoy yourself, disconnect from anything that's going on, and have something to really reflect through. So yeah, that's that's my wrap-up of 2022, and thank you guys so much for joining me this year. I can't express it enough how amazing it's been to have this channel and find my niche on YouTube, and I've been loving BookTube, and I guess this has been my first year of BookTube, so yeah, thanks for joining, and if you haven't again already, please hit that subscribe button, please hit that like button, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!